Hello. I'm Twanna Carter, and I am a career transition coach. And I help professional women over 40 overcome that fear and anxiety that can sometimes come with switching to a new career. And I do that by empowering them to recognize and communicate their unique abilities. And also by helping them to have an absolute deep sense of belief in their own strengths and abilities so they can create success on their own terms and pursue a path of purpose that's meaningful to them. And today, I want to talk about, for the next, actually, this is one of three in a series of videos. We're going to talk about the types of career shifts, right? And there are three types of career shifts that you can actually make. And there's an industrial where you're changing your industry, and there's a geographical as well as functional. And I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to tackle the most difficult one up front because this is the one that really gets people like, oh, I'm not sure what to do, when to do, and where to do it, right? So a career switch, and this I like to call it 180 degree. You have decided to make a 180-degree career shift to something totally different than what you've done before. You can also call it a functional shift, right? And and so they're more difficult because you are solely relying on your transferable skills and you're selling yourself to an entirely new industry. It's not impossible. It could be a little bit more challenging than the others, right? For instance, I transitioned total functional shift from being a classroom teacher to being an environmental health specialist or a health inspector, right? Two different things, teaching in a classroom and being a health inspector. So I really had to sell that employer on my transferable skills. And that's what makes this a little bit more tricky is because you got to know what your transferable skills are, excuse me. And you also have to know how to apply them in that new career field, right? And so there are many ways you can do that. For me, my biggest selling point, I have a bachelor's degree in zoology with a minor in chemistry. Being a health inspector is all about the biology, right? It's all about the chemistry. And so coming in the door, that's what I really sold. Plus, I leaned on my experience in the military, being a leader, 22 years old, walking in the door, leading soldiers, leading troops, you know, um, telling them what to do and how we were going to do it and what we're going to do, and being able to, influence people to behave or do a certain thing or do it a certain way, which is all about what being a health inspector is. Some people think, you know, deliver us from evil when you walk in and you're just telling people what to do and yelling at them. No, actually, the military is not like that either. It once upon a time it was, but no, it's about influence and true leadership is about influence, and that's what I brought to the table when I did that career shift from teaching to environmental health specialist. Right now, there are some other ways that you can also prepare yourself. Um, if you don't already have that background, you can actually take courses to train. If you know that you're wanting to shift to an industry, then start ahead of time taking courses in an industry. edX.org, Coursera.org have some really great training. LinkedIn has a lot of great training. When you do that, when you know that you're doing a functional shift and you actually present a resume where your training is totally in that new field, you really make the point to that new hiring manager that you're serious about this career shift, right? And it doesn't take, and like I said, it's more difficult because you got to do a lot more planning. But certainly one of the things you do need to do is rely on your network, right? You probably have this extensive network, but you need to let them know that you're doing a 180-degree turnaround. You're no longer, say, being a budget analyst, but now you're going, you're looking at a marketing specialist. Two separate career fields, right? So you got to let your network know that, hey, by the way, here's what I'm doing now. This is where I'm looking for a job now. Here are the things that are important to me. And so that your network starts to look for you, right? Because when you use your network, when you're getting ready to do a shift, You aren't the only person looking, but now you have your network looking for you, and they're having their eyes open. And you'd be surprised how things can really shift, right? So it's very important to let your network know. Now, what I just described to you was really the short term, just using your network and your transferable skills. That's a shorter way to do it. And you can take classes here and there. I've certainly done that. I've had over 11 career transitions throughout my lifetime. And so I've actually done that. But there is also a longer term functional shift that you can do. And this is where two things you can actually get a job in your current role in the new company that you want to shift to, and then learn the ropes, do your networking, and then either apply for the job or do like on the job training to get that role, right? That's a longer term game. You're not going to like get the new role and 3 months later be shifted over to the new role. Probably not it. But you do want to be sure that you're taking your time, you're getting to know people, and you're excelling in the role that hired you for before you start shifting and looking at that other role. A second longer term option inside the long game here is to do training, right? I've done that too. Okay, it's a longer road. For instance, I went from being an environmental health specialist to being a counselor. That was a 2.5 year training. So yes, you can go and totally train, whether you get a master's degree or whether you get a second bachelor's degree or whether you get a certification. Certifications are a really nice way, a wonderful way to get the training you need without tacking on 1, 2, or 3 more years of a college degree or what have you, right? But it is a longer term game, but you can do that functional shift because now you trained in that new area. And also, networking is still important. Just because you train doesn't mean you got to leave off the networking. Yes, you got to still do the networking because, again, you got to let your network know here's where I'm shifting to. While you're doing your training, you should also look at certifications they have in the area. You should also join organizations, and really important because you start to network within those organizations, right? And so, in addition to being a career transition coach, I'm also a licensed therapist, and I belong to several organizations so that I am sure that I'm always networking really to get the latest update and to meet people. And not only that, but I also impart information as well so that when I need something, I go to my network and I can get it. Okay, so a lot of people feel like, oh, I don't want to have to depend on a network or tell anybody or ask them for something. The great way, giving you some extra here today. So, the great way to stay engaged with your network is know the people in your network. You know, put them on a schedule, be it you contact them every month, every 2 months, every 3 months, every 6 months, whatever it is, contact them. And what I like to do, oh, that's my table going off telling me it's time to stand. I have an adjustable table so I don't sit all day long. The other thing that I coach my ladies to do is know if you know your network, you know what industry they're in, you know what they're interested in, and every so often drop them information that they find useful, right? I know that as a therapist, when I come across something new, as also a consulting hypnotist, when I come across something new, I come across new research. The people in my network who are therapists, the people in my network who are hypnotists, I send them that information. I come across things and people in my network who are coaches, I send them coaching information, right? Then it's just, hey, heads up. Did you see this? Here's something new. I read about this and I thought you find it interesting. That's just those small steps can help keep you engaged with your network so that you don't feel funny about asking for a favor or asking for an invite, right? Because you've actually kept in contact with them. Which reminds me also, if you're doing a functional shift, one of the things that's really great is also doing an informational interview. And you guessed it, you would depend on your network, right? To see who you have working in a company you're interested in to introduce you to the folks so you can do an informational interview. You're not asking for the job in the interview, but you are asking for information, which still shows that you're very invested and you're interested in the career shift you're getting ready to make. So, again, I'm talking to you today. Really, this is video one of three about the three types of career shift. And today we started with the most intense one first, and that's that 180-degree career shift, or you can call it a functional shift, where you're literally doing a 180-degree shift and doing something you've not done before. Right? So if you do have some questions or you really want to talk to me about how to make this work, go ahead and send me a DM. I'm always open to talking with you. I do a 15-minute consultation. It's no obligation at all, and I'm happy to do that for you. So this has been Tawana, and enjoy the rest of your day.